Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is pretty special to me because it's the first requested video I've gotten in a very long time, and I'm telling you all this because I just wanted to remind you guys that I'm always willing to try and give you guys what you want to see. So if you want me to talk or do anything in particular on this channel, all you gotta do to achieve that is comment down below, and I'll happily do my best to try and give you what you want to see. So yeah. Anyway, today's video is how I built the Jedi Crusader costume that I uploaded a couple of years back. First of all, full disclosure, I'm not a professional sewer in any way. I'm virtually entirely self-taught, and that came from a lot of trial and error, from me taking apart old pieces of clothing, cutting the seams, cutting the hems, and laying them out flat, using them as templates, transferring those templates onto other pieces of fabric, cutting those parts out, and then reconstructing it in the manner that I took it apart. So I really don't know a lot of the terminology and lingo, or how to do any of the explanations on how to sew things properly. So this isn't really going to be a how-to step-by-step video on how I constructed this costume. It's more of a directionary video that's to set you on the right path on how I built the costume, and it's going on the assumption that for any of you guys watching, you have some basic skill in sewing. So I hope that's okay. That being said, let's get started, and to start things off with the easiest things, the pieces of costumes that I bought for this outfit, such as the Jedi Boots and the combat belt that I wore with this outfit. Both of these can be bought online, which I'll leave a link for both in the description down below for you guys to look up. After that, as you can see in this video, I put on these two black straps on the underrobe of my suit. Those are two black nylon buckle straps that I was able to buy in the camping section of my local Walmart. However, over the past couple of years, they haven't actually restocked on that. I think they've discontinued it. You might be able to find it at your local craft or hunting store. If you don't want to adventure around trying to find these two small straps, the best thing I can advise is to probably purchase them online. They don't really serve any purpose, they don't really hold anything up, they're purely decorative, but those are what I used. And with that being said, let's get to the most complicated part, the underrobe. Let's see. Oh, there it is, you son of a bitch. So what I personally used for the construction of that robe was an old bathrobe that I had. And it's very important that the robe that you buy has this decorative collar that goes around the neck and all the way down to the bottom, like so. However, if you wanted to try and cheat this a little bit, you could probably also get away with buying a karate robe in your size, because that actually has a lot of the same features and structure as this robe itself in a lot of ways. But from what I've seen with karate robes and bathrobes like this, is that they both seem to have this problem, at least for me because I'm a big guy, is that when you're wearing them, the sleeves tend to fall just a little bit short, or also a little bit too wide than the sleeve of my Jedi Crusader robe, which is a lot more enclosed around my wrist and my arm entirely. The difference, you know, see the difference? You see the difference, right? Right? Cool. So if you want a sleeve that more properly fit your arm, there's a couple of methods that you can do that I've personally done. The first one would be to take a shirt of your choosing that has a narrower fit, that fits your arm a little more snugly, and removing the seam around the shirt, taking it all apart, and then using this sleeve as your new sleeve template for your robe. And then when you're tracing out your robe parts, you would take the sleeve hole from this shirt and transfer its sleeve hole over top of the robe's sleeve hole. So that way when you trace out this sleeve and cut it out with the new fabric, when you transfer it onto your robe, it'll fit in its proper place, because the sleeve holes will probably be different than the sleeve on this kind of shirt and the sleeve on a bathrobe. The other method that I've done, and the one that I prefer to do personally, is something, for example, that I've done for my own Mandalorian robes, which actually started out as Jedi robes, funny enough. And as you can see, the sleeve is nice and narrow, and originally it was a lot wider, just like the bathrobe. How I achieved this is I first turned the sleeve inside out. I gauged how wide I needed the sleeve to be to fit it more snugly and properly on my arm, and then I ran a seam down the length of the sleeve all the way up my armpit. Then once you turn it right side out, it fits just fine, and none of the extra sleeve is visible. And the reason why I prefer this method is because for whatever reason, if your arm shrinks or grows, you gain weight, you lose weight, or if you're going to have someone else wear this costume who's either bigger or smaller than you, it's just far easier to cut the seam up down the arm and let all that excess out again, resize and then reseam, than to basically take the entire sleeve off and then rebuild it from scratch. The only real drawback for this kind of method is that underneath you can see that there's probably a small pinch in the fabric, but given that it's in your armpit, it's really not going to be that visible, so it's not really that big of a deal. So when I was building the collar, I wanted something that had little distinct decorative lines along it, and if you look a little closer, you can see that there are also these nice decorative little bumps that go along with the lines. And how I was able to achieve that is when I was cutting out the pieces for this strip that goes for the collar, I interlined it with, it's either foam, it's very, very thin foam, or just more fabric that once I ran the lines with my sewing machine, it had just enough material in between to cause these little decorative bumps. And it just makes it look all the nicer, a little bit more professional, and it gives it a really cool look. So the material I used when building this costume is I chose for the underrobes a really thick and pretty firm feeling canvas material, because there are multiple kinds of canvas. Some of them are thinner than others, and I've actually made other robes out of a thinner canvas material, and if it's not done perfectly, it wrinkles up really easily and it just doesn't look as good as with this, because the thicker canvas helps it hold its structure a lot better and it keeps it from wrinkling. And that's just my own preferred method, but it really just comes down to your own personal preference. Okay, so now for the outer robe. Now, as you can see, I don't have the original robe as in the video. That outer robe got pretty messed up during some other films that I've been working on, and it just really wasn't worth trying to save or repair, so I threw it away. But this cloak that I have is relatively fairly similar to the original one that I had, at least in structure. So how this one is put together is fairly simple. You just use the same templates that you made the underrobe out of, but this time you don't make the arms or anything like that. You just leave those to the side, because this is more of an outer vest, really. Something I found is that when this area is connected on the side to one another, whenever I'm doing any kind of moves with a lightsaber or any kind of real activity that isn't just, keeping a fairly calm posture, this area kind of gets jacked up and really pulls up a lot and makes it look a little not so neat. And it's kind of annoying to keep fixing that. And what I found is that when this area is unconnected, that doesn't really happen as much. If it does, it's just as simple as pulling it straight and it works out just fine. Plus, if this area is open, it does grant people the ability to see more of the undervest, which I think is actually a little bit more important, because we're going to go to the effort of sewing up that entire under robe. I think it's probably nicer for people to actually be able to see more of it. That's maybe not something you want to do. That's perfectly fine. Just connect it if you think that's a good look. Just remember to keep a nice open area right here open, so that way you can actually move your legs out a little bit more, and it just gives it this nice decorative robe-ish flappy look. I don't know the terminology for any of this, so you'll have to forgive me. After that, instead of having it cross over like regular robes, this is how it's supposed to sit, you might want to try squaring it off a little so it hangs more straight and down each side, because that's how it originally was. It's just a simple edit of just taking the area that really curves over and just straightening that straight down. So it just hangs on either side of you pretty equally like this. Now when it comes to the actual belt, it's fairly straightforward. It's just a simple square rectangular sash that just wraps around, and you can either Velcro it, or what I did for the particular video, was to use safety pins to pin it shut on the other side, and that worked out just fine for me. With these extra little rectangular bits that go down in front of each of the thighs, fairly simple to make. For the collar that you see on the outer robes, if you were to take a collar from another shirt and just remove that and use the templates that these would make to create a new collar, you can then transfer that over onto your outer robes. So yeah, do that. Anyway, that's today's video, guys. I hope you found it helpful. I apologize if there's anything that I left up that might have been a little confusing. If you need more information on the proper sewing techniques or how to actually put these things back together once you have the templates. Again, I really don't know a lot of the sewing terminology, but there are a number of YouTube channels out there that have talked about in length on all the matters of sewing, something I probably should have done for myself a long time ago, but they should be able to help you fill in the gaps at whatever this video might have missed for you guys. There's also a bunch of videos that talk about putting together Jedi robes, and those will probably help direct you towards maybe the right material for this look that you're going for. And I really hope that with all of that, this has been helpful for you. Again, I apologize for anything I might have missed. I'm not a professional sewer, but this was the best I could do for you. So I hope you will appreciate that by giving me a like or a subscribe, and hope to see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye. Hey guys, welcome back to my app. I'm gonna go over here. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, I'm gonna go back over here. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Did I mess that up? I think I messed that up. I'm gonna go back over here. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, man, I had this all locked down, and then the second I see that red dot, it does just, nope. I'm just gonna go ahead and pause and then get my